I said with a grin. He tipped his hat, walked back to his car, and the two cruisers rolled away down the road. The flashing lights faded into the distance, and I finally exhaled. But just as peace started to return, I noticed something. A crumpled paper lying near my fence. Karen must have dropped it when she left. I picked it up and smoothed it out. It was a letter addressed to the HOA Board of Directors, written by Karen herself. The words were underlined, and angry red ink circled some phrases. If the board refuses to act, I will personally make sure the authorities enforce compliance. I won't let this so-called farmer ruin the image of our neighborhood. I sighed. So this isn't over yet, I whispered to myself. I walked back to the coop, patted Daisy on the head, and chuckled. Looks like we've got more drama coming, girl. A week later, everything seemed calm for a few days. The air was peaceful again. I went back to tending the garden, feeding my chickens and repairing the old barn doors. I even baked a few pies for the elderly couple next door who always smiled and waved whenever I passed by. But peace didn't last long. One morning, while I was feeding the chickens, I heard footsteps on the gravel. I turned around and there she was again, Karen. This time she wasn't alone. A man in a suit walked beside her holding a clipboard and a camera. I wiped my hands on my jeans and said, "Morning, Karen. Come to admire my chickens again?" Her lips tightened. "This is Mr. Phillips, from the HOA Compliance Committee." The man nodded stiffly. "Good morning. We're conducting a community inspection." I laughed softly. "Inspection? On my farm?" Karen cut in sharply. "Don't get smart. We've reviewed your claim, and we're not convinced your property isn't under HOA authority. We'll need to take photos for documentation." I stepped forward, blocking their view of the coop. "You're not taking pictures of anything here. You have no right to be on my land." Mr. Phillips hesitated. "Ma'am, if this property falls within Maple Ridge, then..." "It doesn't," I interrupted, pointing toward the road. "The HOA boundary ends at that ditch. Everything beyond it belongs to me and has for decades." Karen snorted. "That's your opinion. We'll see what the board says." I sighed. "Karen, you already called the police. They told you the same thing. Why keep pushing this?" Her eyes narrowed. "Because people like you ruin neighborhoods. You don't belong here with your barns and animals. This is a residential community, not a petting zoo." Her words stung. I clenched my jaw but stayed calm. "You know, kindness doesn't cost anything, Karen. Maybe you should try it sometime." She scoffed and walked off, her heels crunching on the gravel. Mr. Phillips followed, looking embarrassed. But as they left, Karen turned back and said coldly, "You'll regret not listening. We'll handle this our way." Later, that night around 9 p.m., I went out to lock the chicken coop. The crickets chirped, and the moon glowed faintly over the fields. But something felt wrong. When I reached the coop, I froze. The door was open, swinging in the breeze. Straw scattered across the ground. "Daisy? Cluck Norris?" I called softly. "I'm sorry." My heart started to race. I grabbed my flashlight and saw looking across the yard. Then I saw the chicken was leaning toward the ditch near the road. I ran after them, panic building in my chest. When I reached the end of the trail, I found Daisy huddled under a bush, trembling but alive. Norris was beside her, missing a few feathers from the barn. I ran down to my feet. Someone had tried to open their coop, and I already had a pretty good idea. I spent the rest of the night fixing the hatch and sleeping was falling in. Somebody said that I went to him again this time. As I looked out at the quiet night, I muttered under my breath, "You've picked the wrong farm to mess with, Karen." Who do you think tried to open the chicken coop that night? Was it Karen or someone working with her? When the sun rose the next morning, the first thing I did was check the chicken coop. Daisy and Cluck Norris were fine, pecking happily at their feed like nothing had happened. But the ground outside the coop told a different story. There were footprints, fresh ones, 2 sets, one small, one larger, leading from the road right up to my coop gate. The small ones looked like women's shoes, maybe flats or low heels. The bigger ones, probably a man's dress shoe. I crouched down, tracing one of the prints with my finger. The morning dew hadn't dried yet, so they must have been made during the night. My stomach turned. I went straight to the small camera I'd hidden behind a fence post. It wasn't fancy, just a motion-activated trail cam I used to check for foxes or raccoons. I unhooked it, walked to the porch and plugged the memory card into my laptop. And there it was. At 11:42 p.m., two figures appeared on screen. Karen and the man from the day before, Mr. Phillips. The camera's night vision showed them creeping toward my coop. Karen was holding a flashlight. Phillips looked nervous, glancing around like he didn't want to be there. Karen whispered something into the latch. Then they both froze with dizzy swung loudly. A few seconds later, they turned and moved toward the road. I sat back, shaking my head in disbelief. She actually did it.